Hey guys, my name is Kaya Camlin.
Hi, my name is Sean Lee.
Hi, I'm Melissa Tate.
Hi, I'm Trusha.
Hey guys, my name is Sai Rachkunda.
Hi guys, my name is Valentina.
Hi everyone, I'm Athena.
Hi, my name is Elijah Lapai.
What's up guys? My name is Kashyap Shirao.
Hello, my name is Parker Dingman.
Hi, I'm Kendall Sackwood.
I am so excited to be part of Duke's class of 2024. My Common App essay was on the first prompt about background, identity, interest or talent that is meaningful. And I basically wrote about how I've lived alone in the UK at a boarding school. My parents are currently living in Spain, and having that experience growing up by myself and in a new and completely unknown kind of place, how that's built me to be the person who I am. When I was younger, I was in an all-Catholic Spanish school where they actually denied me of being Jewish. So that was interesting. And basically my essay was just kind of to get to know me a bit better, kind of touch upon experiences that I've had and how my life experiences build up the person who I am.
So I actually wrote my Common App essay on lawn mowing, which is something that I do because I run a lawn mowing business in my neighborhood. And I kind of thought about it because it's kind of unique. It's a unique topic. No one really writes about it, but also it kind of tells the story of how I really connected with my neighbors, as well as just kind of help the community in general, which was I think something that kind of made me stand out.
I was involved in a lot of different things in my school. I was involved in the band, I was involved in MUN and sports and community service and stuff like that. And so I wrote my Common App essay on the different families and the different communities that I had found during my time at school. And it started with me founding the track club in the 10th grade and the reason why I quit and why that led to a bunch of different realizations I had about teamwork and community and blah blah blah. So that was my Common App essay.
My Common App essay was about a project that I began during my sophomore year called Project Udan. Udan in Hindi means to fly. So the aim of this project was essentially to provide life skills development opportunities to less privileged students and communities around me. My essay talked about the journey, the struggles, what worked, what failed miserably, and I essentially talked about how by the end of the project, my students had developed really important communication, critical thinking, collaboration skills that they could use for the rest of their lives. And a major thing that I also included was how we learned from each other. So I taught the students these kind of skills while they taught me Marathi, they taught me to be a better teacher, to remain more patient. So it was like a two-way street that way.
It documented my weight loss journey, its mental, physical, psychological, and emotional aspects throughout the 2 years. So I actually used to be morbidly obese. I've always been really tall, so even since the beginning of high school I was 6 foot, 6'1", but I actually used to be 260 pounds, right? So that's a crazy amount. And then it basically documented why I did it, how I did it, and what resulted, and how it really changed my perspective on my life and the lives of others. And I'm happy to say now I'm perfectly healthy weight, and I'm currently working on improving my physique.
For my essay, I moved to the United States 5 years ago from Spain, and I didn't know any English. So my essay was pretty much writing my experience about having to learn a new language, not knowing anyone, coming from a different country. But I didn't make it sound like a sob story, because I feel colleges can definitely tell when you try to make an essay sound like a sad story so that you can get in. I kind of made it sound more like what I took from that experience and how that made me a better person, rather than, oh, please feel bad for me, please accept me. It was more I think I did grow a lot from that, and it was a great experience, and it really got me where I am now.
My Common App essay was about a plant. I found her on the balcony of my apartment in the Bronx in 3rd grade, and when I used to live there. And I named her, I personified her, and just kind of stuck with me ever since as I went through all these transitions in my life, from going to elementary school to middle school and moving from the Bronx to Long Island and just picking up running and all of that. So it was a nice metaphor, and my admissions officer actually wrote me an email after I got in telling me she liked that essay, in addition to my involvement in art and science. And I also wrote another additional information section essay and kind of tied it all together and talked about how running has taught me about mental health and also encouraged me to find balance in other fields such as art and science.
So for my Common App essay, I wrote about my experiences being a dual citizen of the United States, the land where I was born and raised, and the Philippines, the land of my ancestry, and how I feel at home in two countries, and how I have this conflict of culture and identity, and how that's kind of shaped me into the kind of person that I am. How that's tied into my love for geography, as you can see, about flags, and also my desire to pursue medicine, because I've seen a lot of the health disparities that goes on in the Philippines, and especially the rural villages where my parents are from, seeing how a lot of them struggle with the basic things that we take for granted here in America, like running water and access to reliable healthcare, and how I want to be able to do something about that because of the education that I have here in America, be able to help them and find this way to bridge this disparity that I've seen and this connection that I have to both countries because of my dual citizenship.
So I wrote my Common App essay on a really peculiar topic. I actually wrote it on the time my toilet exploded, and I included a bunch of potty humor and a bunch of toilet jokes because I wanted to show myself as kind of like a personable side rather than just showing myself as another statistic to colleges. And I talked about how in, trying to solve my toilet explosion, I learned more about like how we should focus on the necessities of life rather than indulging ourselves in luxuries. I feel like it showed another side of me that I was really proud to show as like what I am as a person and my personality.
I wrote my Common App essay about my socks. So I collect socks, and not just like your regular ankle socks. I collect high socks with a lot of fun patterns and characters and sayings, and I like to wear them regardless of what my outfit is. So I wrote about how my sock collection and I guess obsession is representative of my personality. I said how they were a conversation starter and a form of self-expression, and I just wanted to get across my personality because the rest of my application showed my academics. They didn't need any more proof of that. I wanted to show them my personality, so I made a little bit of jokes and I just had fun with it.
So I like music, and I decided to write my Common App essay about learning how to play the triangle. I want to show how something that seems simple can actually have a lot of details to it. I then kind of tied it into how math made me a better musician. And then I tried to put some humor in it and had a lot of fun writing it.
I think my biggest piece of advice would be to actually apply early decision to a college that you really like, and I think the biggest advantage is that you know almost a month after you apply, and it just saves you so much time and stress, honestly, because in the end, if you get in, you really just are going there, you're going to be pretty happy, and because it is your number one school after all.
I would say when you enter your junior and senior year, try to stay in all the activities that you were in before. I see a lot of juniors and seniors dropping out of a lot of extracurricular activities when they get like an increasing amount of work they have to do for school. But I would say try to stay in those as much as possible, just because those are the things that are going to keep you sane and like grounded and happy during your junior and senior year. It can get stressful at times, just because you're applying to college and you're dealing with a lot of work from teachers and stuff. And just to have an outlet where you can like focus on and not think about school and academics, it really helps to keep your mental health up, and that's obviously a really important part of the application process.
So everyone says that junior year is going to be the hardest year of high school, and yeah, they're right, but what they don't tell you is that the fall of your senior year is going to be the hardest semester of high school. Really try and do as much as you can to prepare over summer, because once that year starts, it's going to be fun, but it's going to be really fast-paced.
I really recommend that you make a new email for yourself. One, because you're able to start off fresh with a personal email when you start going off into college and later in life. But second of all, being able to really have a clean inbox when you start getting emails from schools. Personally, my personal email that I had before applying to colleges had 10,000 emails from random things that I had signed up for during high school and middle school. So being able to start over and having all these college application things come to one new email, I thought was really refreshing.
Don't procrastinate on any of your essays. Make sure you put some time and effort into getting your essays reviewed. And you also want to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward in every part of the Common Application.
Definitely suggest writing your essays as soon as possible. Maybe start brainstorming in the summer of your junior year. And you want to be authentic to who you are, but at the same time, you want to paint a cohesive picture of who you are as a person and how everything that you do connects to your identity.
Portray the most real side of yourself. I think that they want to get to know you on a more intimate level, and I think that that's really important when it comes to applying to colleges, because everyone can have the test scores, but it's what differentiates you from every other applicant.
It's really important to be yourself because those admissions officers are reading tons of applications that have the same scores and do the same activities, and I think it's important to show them a personality because they want to accept people, not just scores. They want people.
Don't get too worked up over the college applications process because you really want to just show what kind of person you are. Colleges are looking for people who want to fill specific niches in their college system. So if you love music, or if you love research, or if you're a nerd for both, you should show that in your application. Really speak out to what you are and think about all of the involvement you've had over the years that's made you the person that you are.
The admissions process can get stressful. It's very easy to compare yourself to others and worry about whether your stats or your activities are good enough. But at the same time, there's a certain threshold when those numbers don't matter, and it's more about who you are as a person and how you contribute to the Duke community based on how you've already contributed to your community. So this is your time to figure out who you are as a person.
Also, do your research. You want to display your interest in a university, and one of the best ways to do that is to show admissions officers that you've done research to stay informed and that you really are dedicated to a school.
Honestly, it was really scary, and I'm so glad it's over with. And when I applied, I didn't really believe in myself, but if I had to pick something that I think really helped me was the passion. It's like, as long as you have goals and you're passionate about what you want to do, and your application, especially the school that you're applying to, Duke was my number one decision, and even like the essays that were about Duke specifically. I love the school, so I was very passionate writing about them. So I think they can definitely tell that instead of being generic and just like do one of those essays that you just change the name of the school, I actually really got in depth about what I specifically liked about Duke.
Don't get too attached to one school. You never know what's going to happen. It's an extremely competitive process, right? There's so many qualified applicants, so many talented people, smart people, accomplished people, right? And when you attach yourself completely to one place, and let's say your desirable result isn't accomplished, then it's kind of like a demotivating factor.
Remember to be yourself. Try and present yourself in a way that's an accurate representation of who you are. And although it's hard, try not to stress out too much. Just know that things will work out.
Just try and be proud of yourself, you know? You're writing down all of your accomplishments, and sometimes you just gotta take a step back and look what you've done.
And of course, it will be a roller coaster at times. It's very hard to predict what college admissions results, I guess, will be like. But at the same time, if you take it all in stride and you make the most of wherever you go, you will be successful.